So for the Vikings, kind of a little bit of a two-parter here. Last year's resolution was saving money because people want to save money. And you did it.
Geico.
You did it. Yeah, you saved money. You did it. Congratulations. You got rid of the Kirk contract. You saved a little money last year. That's wonderful. You reset your books. So this year, because you did that last year, this year's resolution is go on a spontaneous adventure. And that adventure is furthering the Sam Darnold experience. Because, Nate, I'm not one of these losers that can't admit when they're wrong. And I was obviously very wrong about the Sam Darnold, stuff. But I mean, just absurdly wrong. I'm at a point now where, I was saying to you prior to the season, we're going to get like 6 weeks into the season and just like, oh my God, we have Sam Darnold as our quarterback. Like we're going to do 17 weeks of this. Now I'm like, we might have to do 17 more weeks of this because as we sit here right now with how this offense looks right now with how he's playing and obviously the scene in the locker room afterwards, I just can't imagine a scenario where they say, thank you for your service, Sam. We're going to go ahead and move on to the rookie quarterback who we haven't seen at all because he's had 2 knee surgeries in the span of this entire thing has been going on. So, my resolution for the Vikings is you got to find a way to keep this little spontaneous adventure going with Sam Darnold. Even no matter how this season ends, I think we have arrived at that point, which I did not expect to say. I think I was probably saying the exact opposite of that like a month and a half ago.
I thought this would just be a nice clean break. Like it made sense to me, the timeline. Of course, I'm more bullish on Sam Darnold, but this has been like as good as it could have gotten, possibly. It was every kind of trap and potential pratfall he could have taken. It's kind of he's bounced back up, or the team has bounced back up, and then actually I feel like he's learning from some things. It's not just like he's making mistakes, but it's not the same mistakes, which is a huge thing. I know we're talking about a guy that's on his 4th team and was a former top 5 pick. All these things, but on December 8th when they played the Falcons, every national reporter, inside scoop person came out saying like, yeah, Vikings haven't talked to Darnold at all. It looks like that they're going to let this go and, rip off the Band-Aid and go from there. And he proceeded to chuck 5 touchdowns and 347 yards. And then they beat the Bears. Then they beat the Seahawks. He gets 3 touchdowns, beat the Packers, has his highest yards, touchdowns, all this stuff, plays very good football basically for the last month. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, the Vikings might, they're actually looking at this differently. They might get creative with this. Oh, Jordan Love plan. If I hear Jordan Love plan one more time, enough with Jordan Love plan. The Falcons were on the Jordan Love plan. The Falcons 9 months ago said we're on the Packers plan. And now they're playing Michael Penix without their starting quarterback getting hurt to lead to Michael Penix. Plans are great. It's just like Mike Tyson's, everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face. Like same with football teams. It's like, yeah, you might have a long-term plan, but you got to adjust. I'm kind of with you. I kind of want to see this good times keep rolling. McCarthy was supposed to take some time anyways. He needs reps. But that's kind of a decision they have to make. I mean, you could dangle him out there and just see, but I think they should just be creative. Like, I don't think they should commit to anything mentally right now. I don't think they are. It's a very smart team. They have really earned my respect. Not that they didn't have my respect before, KOC and Kwesi, their general manager, but I just think now it's like, well, they can do some cool things with this if they can stick a landing here. I really do think that. What that landing is, we'll find out, but I do think that there's some cool paths that they can go on with franchise tags, trading one of them, keeping both, getting somewhere, shape or form where they just give themselves options, kind of keep the good times going. So, yeah, I mean, they also don't. Their picks are kind of a little iffy this year because all the maneuvering they did last year. So that's another thing that it is. They're kind of, so that's another thing is like, all right, well, if we go with McCarthy and we're not getting more young picks in there, we're kind of set this way anyways, so might as well maybe go with the vet, even if it's just one more year. I don't know. I've thought a lot about this kind of, I want to think more about it, but the Vikings might be the number 1 seed. So they can have their cake.
We're going to be thinking about them for a minute.
Yes, we are. As I'm writing about them. And then they have that big game.
I'm glad you pointed out that barrage of stories from before the Falcons game, right? Where it was like, oh, they haven't talked to him at all. Since that time in the last 4 weeks, Darnold is 4th in the NFL in adjusted net yards per attempt behind Jared Goff, Josh Allen, and of course, Baker Mayfield, a similar reclamation project. I don't know. There's a lot, I think, and we don't have to do this now because will derail the whole show. But and I know this is like right up your alley. But like this, like, it's really an interesting like
derailing is my shtick.
Well, for sure, but specifically derailing into like big picture quarterback topics here, because I mean the fact that I just read 3 of those names there are Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And some people don't like me putting Goff into the reclamation project bucket because of how productive he was compared to these other 2 guys to start his career, especially Darnold, who was like the worst quarterback in the league from a statistical perspective with the Jets. But still, I think people forget how Goff was just summarily dumped by and hard and aggressively dumped by the team that drafted him. But my point in saying this is that I don't think the lesson from this season for Kevin O'Connell is, oh man, I've just set my offense up so beautifully. Like I can drop in any goofball and play here, which I think that has been the lesson at times for like a 49ers type team. Like, oh, we could just drop anybody in here and this system will go. Because I thought your point earlier where you see Darnold not making the same mistakes. And I really thought it was very, very clear in this game against the Packers where you just see him going like 1 to 2 to 3, like going through progressions. It's not just like, okay, Justin Jefferson's open on my first read. Bop, 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 bop. That's really been this 4-game stretch, even a little bit more than that, really, like back to probably week 12 against the Bears, where they start activating Jordan Addison. It's the fact that he's getting through multiple reads here. You could tell he has not just been be the joystick, like point and shoot type for the coordinator. It's really much more so like this guy has been taught to play quarterback at a really, really high level. And that's why I think it's really tough to just pull the shoot on this, like, oh, I've invested into this guy and now let's just throw another dude back there. That doesn't really sit right with me, even if this is a guy in J.J. McCarthy you drafted in round 1.
Yeah, they have the wins, but the dividends are getting paid off or are starting to get paid off as he's playing more. You can just see it when you watch him. I mean, watching this first drive of the second quarter against the Packers, this is my last thought. The Packers also start getting back to all their cover 3 stuff, and the Vikings didn't repeat a pass play, but Darnold found the right answer every single time on 5 straight plays against cover 3, and it was confident. It was just 1 snap, eyes right spot, ball out. Eyes right spot, ball out. Okay, 1 to 2, move in the pocket, ball out. It's like, yeah, that's a quarterback playing confident. And of course, KOC is down up some good